expect we see 12 inches. Coming north this far?
I don't know, my sister lives in Maryland, it's 10 degrees warmer here.
I brought my boots with me and my snowshoes are in the
As long
trunk.
as you've got a shovel, you can come on our driveway.
Really had snow in the driveway. Did you win?
Yes. Pretty yesterday.
Oh,
That little dog.
If everybody could study the menu and be ready to take an order, we'll have Alice take an order as quickly as we can.
Oh, here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alice. Happy birthday to you.
Does everyone get
Thank
cake?
you. I didn't bring me no cake. No cake.
Well, I think that's terrible.
I know, isn't it terrible? I thought he'd come bearing gifts and it was this stuff.
If there's something else and we want you to fill out, let it out.
We'll get the order business kind of underway here.
Oh, he wants to be.
Alice,
Gave him a water.
where are your two helpers, Alice?
But
Which two helpers? I had that be me.
But while we're taking orders, let's start over here. I'd appreciate it if you stand up one at a time. Give us your name, and if you're from Waverly or just a guest, let us know.
It might be hard to stand up in
Sir?
this chair.
I'm Greg Dennis, and I'm just a guest because that's my daughter.
I'm Rhonda Lewis, and I'm also a guest, and that's our daughter.
I'm Mary Lewis and I'm just a guest and it's my grandfather.
I'm Dan Artist from Waverly Lions Club.
I'm Kay Humphries from Waverly Lions Club. Kay, stand up there.
Ross Castleberry, Waverly Lions Club.
Ma'am?
Lorraine Wellman, I'm with the leadership program with Houston County, and I'm just a guest. Tanya Bancroft, and I'm from Waverly also.
Frank Young, Houston County Lions Club, and Lorraine came because I gave such an eloquent talk the other day.
David Joseph, Houston County Lions Club.
I was going to use that.
Dan Young, Houston County Lions Club, and there's no such thing as just a guest. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
I'm Alan Campbell with the Houston Health Organization. Health Council.
He's looking this way because he has many hats. Tonight he's with the And I'm Carmen Joseph with the Houston County Lions Club.
I'm Bella Dennis, and I'm here to speak on the panel, and Mr. and Mrs. Julius asked me to.
Is that your mom, Dad?
Yes, that's my mom.
I'm Jo Hall and I was invited here as the wife of one with diabetes.
I'm E.C. Hall from Waverly, also a guest.
George Ross, Waverly Lions Club.
June Ross, Waverly Lions Club.
Stand up. Who are you?
Lindsay Simons, Lions Club.
Doug Simon, Steve the county.
Karen Simons. Houston.
Bill Povlin, Waverly Lions Club. Guest for Lion Frank Young.
Maggie Pavlin, Waverly Lions Club.
Let's see, we're just about done with orders. Okay, what time is it?
6:38.
We'll call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to this Houston County Lions Club meeting. We're live at Fitz's Restaurant here in Tennessee. This is a very important meeting, as you can see, very important subject that we're going to cover. As you can see, we have a number of guests from Waverly and a number of just family friends who stopped in. And we have a panel. Later on, Carmen will be the format runner for the panel and will describe what's going on associated with that. So, everybody enjoy themselves at this meeting, and I'm going to turn it over to Carmen, and go on with the panel.
We usually start out with a pledge to the flag
That's right.
and a prayer.
Excuse me, let me get back up.
And so would everybody please stand for that?
Lindsay, if you lead us. Lindsay?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Frank, would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Please bow. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this huge gathering tonight. We thank you for the panelists who will share the stories of diabetes with us. You bless this food to our use and us to thy service. Continue our service to this community in all aspects as we can use it. Amen.
Again, we want to welcome everybody here. We're especially happy to have the Lions from Waverly here with us tonight, and our own Lions, and members of the panel, which we will introduce to you later. And so the reason for this panel tonight is that Lions Club International has designated today, March 26th, as Diabetes Alert Day. This is a news flash, for those of you who didn't know it. This is Diabetes Alert. And our panel is going to give you a little bit of information on diabetes as our way of observing this date and getting some information out into our community. And for that, we have to thank Mike Davis for videoing this for our cable station. And we thank everybody for watching on the cable station. Our panel tonight is made up of Ann Young and myself from the Houston County Lions Club, and I'm Carmen Jewelseth, and Alan Campbell, who's representing the Houston County Health Council. And to my left is Bella Dennis, who is a Houston County high school student who has type 1 diabetes. And 3 years ago, she was here to visit us when she was only 12 years old. And we were just amazed at how she was already managing her diabetes. And so we're so excited that she could come tonight to give us an update on what it's like to be a high school student with type 1 diabetes. And next to her, as a couple, are EC and Joe Hansen, and they will be telling us a little, Hall, EC and Joe Hall, and they will be telling us a little bit about type 2 diabetes. And we'd like to start and end tonight's program by letting you know about an important event that's coming up in our community. And it's going to be launched on Saturday, April 6th, and Alan McCampbell is here to tell you about it.
This is a great crowd, so it's good to be able to announce this in front of you. The Health Council, what we try to do is make individuals in our county and our community aware of things they can do that can help either prevent or help them if they're dealing with medical issues. And we decided late last fall, early part of this year, that we were going to do some things a little different. And so we're going to have what we call a marathon of the month. And there'll be more than one. But what we're doing is promoting exercise. And in conjunction with what we'll be talking about tonight with diabetes and those my age that are maybe facing type 2, exercise, diet, etc., those things that really are very healthy. So what we want to do is promote exercise. So on April the 6th at the high school, we'll convene at 9 o'clock. Prior to that, we're asking organizations, individuals, companies to form teams. And what we're asking them to do is each of us walk a marathon in a month. 26.2 miles, so it's not a lot each day, it's less than a mile. And put together teams, and then once we do complete it, which will be a month, so the 6th of June, Then each one that's completed will get a pin commemorating the event that they've done that and achieved that goal. And they're putting together teams. You know, I'm on a team, I'm putting together a team. So we have teams, and the teams are not competing in that we're together walking. The teams are competing that we will finish. That's the important part. We will do it and we will finish. So we have a number of them that are signed up. The Lions Club has already, it has a team, they've signed up. Rotary Club has signed up, civic organizations, churches, Sunday school classes, any organization that wants to put together a group of people, or an individual. You don't have to have a team. The important part of it is, it's not the pin. You know what the victory is. I made it. And sometimes that can help us form a habit that we enjoy the walking, it's good for us, and that'll continue to help promote good health as we go forward. So that's the purpose of it. For more information, I have a number that you can call if you want to participate, and that is 289, area code 931, 3499, 289-3499. And you can ask for Karen Anderson. She's coordinating the event for us, and we'll be, of course, on site when we kick off that morning. That's what we're all about, and we're trying to promote it. But if you have any questions, I want to be sure we get it covered, so that if you do have the inclination and you want to, and I encourage everybody to do it, I want to give you the information necessary.
Now, where is the high school?
Okay, the high school is on, if you're familiar with 149, you go, keep going to the crossroads, go on straight, turn right on 149, and the high school is, what, a mile and a half on the right, and we're going to meet there at the track, and that's where we'll do our walking, and there'll be festivities that morning for children, so, and encourage nutrition, and those kinds of things that are important to them, and a lot of young people are signing up for forming their team. So this is great. This is something good for our community, and I really appreciate you inviting me in to be a part of this, but to be able to announce this. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, then I look forward to seeing many of you April the 6th, the Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. If it is raining, we will not walk. We'll put it off to the 13th. So we have a rain day set up. But what we'll do when we kick it off is we'll come and we'll walk. And if you walk a mile or two that day, it counts. So all you're doing is having people, we're on an honor system. People will keep up with how much they walk. They'll report it to their team captain, and then we'll then report it into our organization so that we know who has achieved it, and that's what's important. Okay?
Alan, you might tell them that if they did the walking trail one direction and back, they could do it in 15 days.
And what he's saying is that's a 2 mile. Go down one way, walk back, and that way you could get not 26. I know what you'd get if you did it every day. 2 miles a day, it'd be close to 60 miles.
And a lot of people do walk at night.
Yeah. And after hours and evenings and such, it's good. Especially now that it's spring, it's so warm, a couple outside. We're all having a good time. So,
He sounds like a groundhog to me.
I did hear somebody has filed a lawsuit against the groundhog.
They want him to end on Ohio, but they won't extradite him.
So some years it's good and some years it's bad. But thank you for the invitation tonight.
And this is another groundhog, because I want to tell you, Mike, that I'm a fast walker and I can't do that trail in 15 minutes. But it's a good trail to walk.
15 days is what I'm talking about.
Oh, 15 days, all right. That would be okay. Okay, I want to tell you a little bit about why Lions Club International is so interested in diabetes awareness and spreading the word. And it's because one of their main focuses is on blindness, or helping people who have vision problems. And diabetes is one of the leading causes of blindness. And therefore, prevention and control of diabetes has become a very important Lions Club cause. And I'd like to pass the microphone over to Bella and have Bella tell us a little bit about what juvenile diabetes, which now is called type 1 diabetes, is and how she manages it.
Well, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes whenever I was in 4th grade, which was 6 years ago, and I would have to say a lot has changed between then and now. And type 1 diabetes is whenever your body does not produce insulin and it does not take care of the glucose that goes into your system, which means I have to take my own insulin shots. And the last time I was here, about 3 years ago, I was on the insulin pump, and it basically just delivered the insulin for me. And now I'm off the insulin pump. I take around 4 shots a day. I take 3 usually one for every meal, so about 3 for a meal, and then I take 1 in the afternoon, Lantus, which is a 24-hour shot, and it delivers throughout the day after I put it in my body. And that's basically how I control it now, along with checking my blood sugar about 6 to 8 times a day on a good day. Some days, whenever it's running a little high, running a little low, it's more constant, and that is probably my biggest challenge coming into high school. I am a cheerleader, so that lasts from about May until February, and I'm also a softball player, so that starts late February, early March, and doesn't end until the end of April, sometimes the end of May, depending on how far we go. So I'm constantly active and moving and doing something, participating, whether it's a game or a practice, cheering at a football game, cheering at a basketball game, cheerleading practice, cheer camp, that's whenever we work the hardest, is at cheer camp. We have softball practices, softball games, so I'm constantly moving, and sometimes it gets a little frustrating trying to handle it, but since middle school and elementary school, I've become much more independent. In middle school, I would call my mom to count my carbs, and now I'm pretty much handling it by myself for the most part. She's there for moral support. I have my days where I'm just like, Mom, I can't do this, but she's definitely there to have my back and remind me that it could be much worse. And handling diabetes the proper way is very, very important. I've seen others around me who haven't handled it very well, and I've seen them suffer the side effects. However, I've done my best to handle it, and I'm very, very lucky that I have not suffered any side effects.
Does anybody have some questions right now?
I'd like to ask her why she switched from the pump back to shots.
Well, I was on the pump for about 2.5, 3 years, and once I'm on the pump so long, it gets very tiring. I got burnt out, and I was like, well, maybe I can switch, because it seemed like it wasn't working. My sugar was constantly running high, and once I switched back to shots, it was something new. It was more consistent, and I will admit, you get lazy after a while. You don't take care of it as much as what you should. So that's why I switched back to shots to help get better control of my blood sugar.
My grandson was thrilled to be able to start using the pump and get off of shots.
Well, the insulin pump, it is a very, very, very wonderful device. I mean, I will praise it to the day I die. I mean, I absolutely loved it, but I just needed a change. And I eventually will go back on the pump. I just need, time off from it. And I believe in another year I'll be able to get a new one. So I'll probably be back on the pump within the next year.
Does diabetes run in your family?
My father, he has diabetes, and I know some of his family does.
What's the standard number for you for sugar count?
Well, what the doctors wanted at is between 80 and 180. That's usually that's the range I try to keep it between. But being so active, some days it's high, some days it's low, but between 80 and 180 is the goal.
Do you find it higher when you wake up in the morning or anything like that?
Yes, that's actually, they have a name for it, and it's some kind of effect where in some people their sugar just spikes during the night, and usually we just up the dosage of my once a day shot to control that.
Okay.
So does the school system help with a more balanced diet that you could actually eat in the cafeteria and not kill yourself because of the carbs?
Well, with type 1 diabetes, you can basically eat whatever you want. They just usually tell you within moderation, as, you know, even if you're non-diabetic, always eat within moderation. I have noticed within the past year, the schools have become much healthier with the foods because of the standards they have to follow and the calorie count. And I can tell a difference. And I have a Spanish teacher, and she also has diabetes. And when we started this year and the lunches were much healthier, she noticed her sugar was dropping because she wasn't having to, she was taking as much insulin as she was used to, but the carbs were less. So she noticed her sugar dropping, so they had become much healthier.
Do you see the impact of a strenuous exercise? Like, I know cheerleading can be hard, and softball can be hard. I don't know what position you told me, but you see the benefits of that in your tests?
I usually do. Sometimes this is a little bit tricky. If I'm playing a game and I get stressed out, sometimes the adrenaline will drive my sugar up, but sometimes the actual exercise, because I do run and I work out at home, so I'll run a mile just about every night, and that can make my sugar drop low because I don't feel as pressured, so my adrenaline isn't rushing as much. But I have noticed that whenever we practice really, really hard, my sugar does drop. Any other questions?
But you found that stress does spike it?
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed you talked about carbs. So is that sort of like a modified Atkins diet? I've heard a lot of diabetics use that.
The carbs is what you have to count to figure out how much insulin you take, because when carbs enter your body, it breaks down into sugar, which causes your blood sugar to rise. So whenever you count your carbs, you have a ratio, and mine is 1 unit of insulin for every 5 carbs I eat. So say if I eat 40 carbs, I will take 8 units of insulin.
Okay.
This is really funny for me to
I
sit.
have a question.
You have a question?
With all this knowledge that you've gained, what are you thinking of as a career?
Ever since I was diagnosed, I've wanted to be a child life specialist for children with diabetes. It has not changed at all since then. And in the high school we have a course of study, and I went with the medical course, and I don't see any change in my future. That is absolutely what I want to do, and I really want to make an impact on children's lives the way my life had an impact.
Your heart is, you're going to achieve. You're an achiever. But what I'd like to do is put the Tennessee Scholar around your neck when you grab. You're going to be taking them.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
That was a good question, because that's what I was going to say, is that I don't profess to be an expert in diabetes. Much of what I've learned, I learned from Bella when she was 12 years old. She's just told you that type 1 diabetes is marked by her body not producing insulin. I'd like to turn this a little to type 2 diabetes, which is the one that we see so much of. It's usually diagnosed in adults, and it's when the body doesn't make enough insulin, or the body doesn't know how to use the insulin it does have. And in most type 2 diabetes cases, the first treatment is diet and exercise, and then maybe oral medications, and then if it's really bad, then insulin injections. Some of the symptoms of diabetes include frequent urination, excessive thirst, extreme hunger, unusual weight loss, increased fatigue, irritability, and blurred vision. And it's very important for you to see your doctor if you think you might have diabetes, because the complications are really scary. It could cause blindness, kidney disease, nerve disease, which might lead to having an arm or a leg amputated, and heart disease. That's pretty scary. But the good news is that healthy eating and regular exercise can help prevent or control diabetes. And building on that, I would like to ask E.C. Hall if he would tell us a little about his experiences with type 2 diabetes, and such as how long you've known about it and how you found out about it and what led you to realize you have it and how you control
it. I'm allergic to mics. Mine started, I've had it a little over 4 years, or diagnosed 4 years ago, but I had all the symptoms that she read off, but I didn't realize what it was. Weight loss, and I accused my wife of trying to help it along, because when I was having all these symptoms, one of them was no energy. I had no energy to do anything. And she was feeding me sugar cakes and pies. Decided to go to the doctor, and he did the blood work. Of course, that showed up then, and I come back home and told her what it was. But she jumped on me with both feet and changed my diet, and I was put on metformin, which got it under control pretty quick. It was amazing what the difference I felt after just a short time. But it's changed my life as far as diet considerably. No longer can eat all the ice cream I want. But I've never had to take insulin of any kind, just metformin tablets, and they put me on extended release. I didn't go see an endocrinologist for, I guess, for 2 years. I should have, but after once then they said that I was doing, but they checked my adrenaline and I wasn't produced any adrenaline. But mine was caused from prednisone. I started, had a lot of difficulties in '95, and I've been on prednisone all these years, and they said what actually caused my prednisone. But I'm still taking that and dealing with it. But it's a life-changing illness. But my wife had me keeping my feet from falling. I'm doing okay.
One of the questions I have, and I could be just like you, so many people are walking around with some difficulty they don't really realize they have. And without somebody, maybe a spouse, having somebody keep urging them, this is not right, or you finally get to the point where you're so upset with it. And people would have an annual physical, have their blood work. There's just some things that we can be done that would help. It won't prevent it, but it help detect it in the early stages. Because like you said, there are things that cause it that you had no way of knowing. But by just annually having physicals and water work done and watching that, it could prevent it continuing. In other words, I'm talking about the type 2. My research on it is that here's the thing, if it's in your family, then there is high probability that it will be in your family. This young lady had no choice. She's doing something about it. But if the IRA diet and everything, if we detect it early, we can get more under control and get back to a lifestyle. But there are hundreds of thousands of people walking out there right now with actually a killer inside of them they don't know. And it's just encouraging people. And that's speaking now for the health council. It's not, we're not talking about a lot of effort. Just, a lot of times they're offering free blood tests, those kind of things. Just do those kind of things besides active exercise, eat right. So And then they have developed, and I think this is wonderful what you're sharing with us, they have developed bond protection at the type 2 level. When we really want to enjoy our senior years, really enjoy them, some things we can do that can really help. So I think that's very encouraging, because I can remember in my younger days, that was not, it wasn't there.
Right now I feel better than I have in several years, but due to other things too, with diabetes, it'll sap your strength and cause you to want to eat and not do anything with it. But once I got it down, then I felt a little better. We had a sheet of settles from Houston County and the lady from Waverly Extension Court had a class on it about a year ago. It was a real good, good information from UT. They had booklets and things. I check my blood sugar every morning. It's usually staying in the 85 to 100 range. Depending on how much potatoes I eat. Yeah, she's wife keeps, she bakes sugar-free cakes and stuff like that. Considerably. But it's something you can't go off and forget about. You've got to stay. I exercise some, not as much as I should, but I pick up about 1.5 miles of trash in my area. Part of it I walk. I'm not much of a treadmill. I need something to do, so I just stand there and walk. But I'm doing fine.
Are there any other questions for EC? I'd like you to keep it, Joe, and would you please tell us how this has impacted your life and include a little bit about the change in your cooking and the classes that you're taking?
I love to cook, so it has not been a big problem to change from sugar to Splenda. And I'm not one that measures, so fortunately the cooking has not been a problem for me. I have learned to adapt a lot of recipes using the Splenda, and he enjoys that. I think doing without his potatoes has been the biggest thing that he's had to deal with on this. And I can't walk with him because I outwalk him. I walk too fast, so we can't walk together. So we don't exercise together. I think using common judgment is one of the biggest things that you have to do. But the problem with him is occasionally his drops and he gets the weak trembles. And he actually had to deal with this long before he was diagnosed with diabetes. I guess he had a touch of the hypoglycemia. And I have learned to take eat snacks with us where we go and candy. So if that does happen, I can get him something to eat quickly. You ask about how he knew he had diabetes. The thing that amazed us, he had this other illness that he had so many symptoms from, and the fatigue was part of it. And I had heard, get sugar and that'll give you energy. So I was feeding him a lot of sugar before we knew what was wrong with him. And he ate, I know, a ton of saltwater taffy. So all of that was bad for him, but he suddenly began losing weight, and he lost like 30 pounds in 2 months. And we were having his sugar checked because we knew prednisone would jump the sugar up. And we were having that checked when we would go to the doctor occasionally, and it would be in the normal range. They might mention there was sugar in the urine. Well, check the blood. But it was never high enough at any of these times to indicate that. So we did check it occasionally. But unfortunately, he'll be on prednisone the rest of his life, so we will deal with this the rest of his life.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Joe? I think she brought up one of the things that you hear. Some people will ask if you get diabetes from eating too much sugar. And that's, the answer to that is no. But if you have diabetes and then you are eating too much sugar, then that's where you get into real problems. The classes for diabetes that she mentioned, and Sheila Settles and Karen Liggett, Karen is over in Waverly and Sheila over here, but they do things together. The classes are held at least every 3 months here in Houston County, and I don't know if that's the case in Waverly too, but probably. The upcoming schedule for Houston County is May 22nd, August 22nd, and November 22nd. It's easy to remember the 22nds. And you can hear more about that from Sheila Settles at the county courthouse here in Houston County, or from Karen Liggett over in Waverly. And the classes for sure will have recipes and ways of counting carbs, but other things also. And then here in Houston County, probably in Waverly too, the library is a really good source for books about diabetes, recognizing it, and how to deal with it. Not to take the place of the doctor, but just to give you some tips. And also they've got some really good cookbooks. Lots of Splenda recipes, I'm sure. A few years ago, Lions Club started having what is called Strides Walks for diabetes awareness. And a Strides Walk is a fitness walk to emphasize the importance of walking to prevent diabetes and to help manage diabetes. And I'd like Ann to tell you a little bit about the Strides link to the Marathon in a Month program.
I guess I can sit down too.
I can't see you.
There's a whole lot here. Okay, I'll stand up. It's good exercise. When we start the kickoff for the Marathon in a Month, the Lions are tacking an extra lap on. And it's going to be our Strides Walk. And if you notice, I have this little white pin here, not the lighthouse, the other pin. That's a Strides pin. So the people who do the extra lap for a Strides Walk will get a pin that says they did it. Basically, it is for diabetes awareness. There are places that use them as fundraisers. I don't think that's a good idea here. I think what we really want is to have people know that diabetes is an evil disease. It can be awful. Frank's dad had diabetes, his stepfather. Thank you. And after his leg was amputated, he passed away. Because his body could not deal with it. He had gone blind previous to that from the diabetes. Now he was type 1. But we do a lot of work with the schools, checking eyes and things, and we're in there when they have their health fairs. The number of young people, younger than Bella, who have type 2 diabetes now is just unbelievable. I mean, we're all old enough, we knew they were juvenile diabetes and adult onset. You can't call it adult onset when you have kids that are 9 and 10 years old coming down with type 2 diabetes. It is epidemic, and we've got to defeat it. And if we can't do anything else but make people aware of it, make sure they get out there and get screened, make sure they do what they can. And because, here we are checking eyes trying to empty out the school for the blind. And we're letting kids come down with these diseases that are going to make them blind. So we just cannot do that. So if you're going to walk, plan on that extra lap. And if we don't have enough pins, we'll get more. But we hope to see you all out there at the marathon. And Humphreys County people can come walk too. The first day, then you can walk at home.
How many laps are you gonna run?
I'm not going to run any of them. I'm barely able to walk at this point.
Well, then walk.
I don't know, how many do they plan to have for the kickoff?
Well, we're counting teams now, but we're hoping to have as many as 150, 200 people.
How many laps?
Oh, lap.
Are they going to do one?
Mile, and I can't.
Okay, a mile is 4 laps.
4 laps.
The track man says. We'll add a fifth lap.
Go off the fifth lap.
Yes, sort of like the 5th quarter.
Yeah.
But we'll stop at 3, but
Well, I know Bella will do it.
Bella, how were you diagnosed? What? I could ask mom and dad. I have grandchildren, and you kind of wondered, worried. So, what were the things or indications of the problem?
We were actually real fortunate because I know of other children who are diagnosed and they've been sick for so long, they lose weight and their blood sugars are really, really astronomical and had been for some time. But with Bella, I noticed she started drinking a lot and she got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom like 3 times a night, which was, virtually unheard of before this. And this went on maybe within a week or so. I was just like, something's not right. She shouldn't be getting up that many times. She's in the restroom. I remember actually taking a nap on Friday evening when I come in from work. And I remember specifically when I woke up, there was a 32-ounce Gatorade bottle and it was empty. And I said, "You drank that already?" And she said, "Yeah, this is my 2nd time filling it up with water." And instantly, of course, I was familiar with diabetes. Her dad has diabetes and other family members have had type 2. But instantly that's when, I thought something's not right. So the next day, we got his blood sugar machine and checked it. And of course, I really wasn't, I kind of knew, but then I was thinking, no, it's going to be normal. But her blood sugar was 500. And it was very scary because, you just think, oh my gosh, But we immediately took her to Clarksville to her doctor, to the pediatric walking clinic, and they said up there that they were, of course, referring her to Vanderbilt because they have a wonderful, wonderful endocrinology child's diabetes clinic. And and the doctor said then, most children that they see usually have to be taken by ambulance to the hospital, if not life-flighted. They're so sick when they come in. And she said, looking at her, she would never believe that she was even sick. So they, at that time, told us that we probably caught it within just a couple of weeks. Because it can come on so suddenly that you just don't realize it. But because, I knew the symptoms and we were watching for it, we caught it very early on. And because we were familiar with diabetes, they actually let us come home and didn't keep her in the hospital, which is very rare. Most of the time, children are hospitalized, at least because you have to become familiar with giving shots and stuff. And, when your child is, you have to be pretty dramatic. So they sent us home with a little bit of insulin and told us to give her a little shot each day. And we went back that Monday to Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt was wonderful. I have to say that we've been so blessed because within their clinic they have not just doctors, but they have child life specialists who talk to the children and try to help them understand it a little bit better. And they have the nurses and just so many different things within their program. And then they have nutritionists, dietitians, and you come back for classes about counting carbs and healthy choices, and once you get things under control and everything's good, then that's when they offer pump classes where you can come in and familiarize yourself with the insulin pumps and decide if that's what you want to do and what types of pumps there is. And so they have a wonderful program, and we've been blessed that she's been able to go there because it's really, I think, makes a big difference in your care for it. When you have the knowledge, it makes a huge difference. He'd been a diabetic for probably 20 years and had always thought he was type 2 and later found out that he was actually type 1. And he learned more after she was diagnosed than what he ever knew. So it was a lot of good education and information. information.
Thank you, Rhonda. Now, are there any other questions?
Yes, I noticed that you said you did all the cooking there, and that was the reason I caused all that. And you use Splenda. Have you tried stevia? And the only reason I ask that is the only natural sweet that I know of.
No, I haven't. I've stayed with the Splenda. But there were other things. It wasn't just my cooking now. I don't take all the blame. I am so impressed with Bella, though. And I've learned something here from her as well. And it's great that you were familiar with it. We were blindsided with it because we had his blood sugar checked at times. We knew of other people who were given large doses of prednisone for a respiratory problem would end up in the hospital. But then when they got off of it, they were okay. Because we had checked it, we did not think he had a problem. And we were not familiar with some of the symptoms that you do have. He had had a cold and allergies there for several weeks and had taken a lot of antihistamines. And I said, oh wait, the thirst. It was just because of that. So we were really blindsided. And I fought our doctor a little bit because I told him later, we were blindsided by this. And he said, I don't know why, having been on prednisone for since 95, I would have sworn he would have ended up with it. Why did he not tell us? Why did he not educate us to be more aware, to watch our diet years before?
And Mike, one of the things about Splenda is that it measures the same as sugar, where stevia is different. So that's one of the things is it's a lot easier to use.
Well, you can buy
Splenda.
a package now that it's practically the same, and that's the reason I say that.
I'm not familiar with it.
It's a plant. You go in your garden, you go out and pick leaves off of it. If you use like a spoonful of coffee, you put a leaf in there and do the same thing.
It's stevia.
The stevia is extremely sweet. You don't need a whole leaf.
And 0 calories.
Well, I drink my coffee black anyway.
Yeah.
I need sweetener since I'm not sweet.
Well, is there anything that any of the panelists want to add? Anything that you forgot?
This is part of the whole thing of making us all go, is awareness. I've learned a lot tonight myself. I'm sure I speak for other people.
And I want to give one little plug for the Waverly group. We're talking about our exercise classes here, and Waverly has had a 5K biathlon for 20-some years. 25 years, and some of us have gone over and taken part in it. It's a lot of fun, and it's a different time of the spring this year. When is the date?
May 25. It's Saturday, Memorial Day weekend.
That's 5,000 feet.
5,000 feet?
We said 5K, I mean, you know.
5K is 3.1 miles, but you can do it. You can run it, and you can also do it and then pick up your bike and take your bike around it. That's why it's the biathlon, but you can do it either way. And I have the notoriety of being the first one to do it as a walk. They didn't have a walk, and I said, well, what's the worst that can happen? I can be the last one in. I was the last one in. But I got a first place trophy because I also was the only woman this age to do it. And if that's all for tonight, then I just want to really thank our panel. Thank you so much for participating. And I want to thank everyone for coming. And oh, that would be good. And you've got the last word, and then we want to thank Mike Davis for videoing this.
I just want to thank the Lions Club for inviting me 3 years ago and inviting me to lead the Strides Walk 3 years ago. I really appreciate it, and thank you for tonight, because if I can just educate one person, then I feel like I'm making a difference, and I just want to say thank you for giving me that opportunity. So thank you very much.
Thanks for being invited to be a part of the Lions Club again. I don't think I need it. Thanks to my good friend Bill Povlin, I was invited to the regional
District.
the district
District convention.
a few years ago, and was very impressed with the work the Lions Club do. I've also been to McEwen with Junie, George, and Maggie and Bill, testing eyes for the students there. And although I do not choose to become a member because of my time schedule, I'm very impressed with the work you do, and I commend each and every one of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And, George?
Well, this is not on the schedule. I happen to have a job in the Lions District, and that's to get Leo Club started, which is an organization for high school students worldwide. We just started one in Waverly. It took us a good number of years. You can look at this. Those of us who are, this is extremely interested. You get the school. We have 2 in Upper East County now, Leo clubs. One's in McEwen, and one's in Waverly, and they'll have another club in Benton County. Well, I guess and if you're interested, I'll be glad to come back and talk to you. You might talk to your, I want to give you several. To your friends, and y'all. It is a fabulous organization. It's designed to teach young students leadership skills. Y'all,
We're okay.
you're okay? And I'm going to give the rest of these to you. It started by the Lions Club around 1987. It's worldwide. There's, I think, 44 in Tennessee. That number varies because new clubs start, and somehow, fortunately, some drop. But if you have any help, I'll be glad to come over and talk to anybody at any time about it. I happen to volunteer, like a lot of other people who are Lions, to be the Leo Club chairman for the district. Our district is 12I, which we're all part of. We had 44 students, join a couple of months ago. The problem, that's not a problem. The thing that you have to do is to get teachers who are willing to be advisors. Fortunately, Waverly has an outstanding advisor. The McEwen Club has an English teacher, and she does a bang-up job. And they help us in our run. They help us to test kids' eyes. And there are a lot of things we can do. I'd love to have y'all start one here, because one of my goals is maybe to have a zone meeting where all the kids from the video clubs can meet together. There's 3 of them in Upper East County in Houston, and we'd love to have one here. So talk it up. Did you get one too? Okay, form. And if anybody has a question on it, Frank will come down and get a hold of me, and I'll do whatever I can to help you. And thank you for the opportunity to talk about Leo clubs.
Is there anything else anybody would like to say? So, thank you very much, Billy. You're really the spirit that got it going in me. And when you came here, you were 7 or 10. You're 12 years old and explained diabetes.
We have a question.
That's right.
We have a question.
Thank you so very, very much. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming.
Question back here.
I have a question.
Go.
I think our family has diabetes. Does it skip a generation, or is it?
It can happen to anybody, but it does if you have a family member and you do have a higher tendency to have it. But it can happen to anyone. If your pancreas quits secreting insulin, which it will for many reasons, then you have diabetes.
Any other questions? Well, with that, there's one piece of old business. We have White King this Saturday, 7 p.m. at Fitz's. All
7 a.m.
A.m. Thank you very much.
You got the thing at the armory in the morning.
7 a.m. 7 a.m. And all warm. Excuse me?
You have the thing at the armory in the morning for passing out video food.
Oh, on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Second harvest.
Second harvest. So, I'll call for a request for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
I knew that.
We'll adjourn, and I see Alice poking her head through there. We'll get
So we're going to
That they have, yes, the diabetes, even if you're not
Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. behold thee with the right hand of thy righteousness. So let's just look to him for strength, and he is our strength. And let's go to him. Yes, Brenda? I didn't walk. Thank the Lord. Thank you.
We realize that there is power in the blood. That you are truly who you say you are. Brother Lord, men have become it. And it soon comes. This I know.